Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we're creating this beautiful handle by stacking the leather. There's different ways you can utilize this technique. You can create hammer handles or knife handles as well. And you can also stack different colors of the leather to get that effect. For this project you can use hole punches, but I've got laser, so I'm gonna utilize it for that. It's a great way to get rid of all your scrap leather and create something beautiful from it. Laser is quite fun tool and speed up the process because it's quite a lot of squares we need to cut out with the hole in the middle. Right, so we got all the pieces. Now it's time to put them on the rod and check if we got enough. So basically for this project you will need a threaded rod about 30 centimeters long and 2 nuts. I use brass nuts which I'm gonna age. So if you wanna see how to age brass, I'll show you that later on in this video. We wanna achieve this twisted effect. So this is how it's gonna look when we glue it all together. So I want my handle to be about 20 centimeters all together. So this is how many leather I need for it. So we've got everything ready. I'll put the rod in the vise and take all the leather off of it. And we're gonna start gluing it all together by using epoxy resin. Word of advice: if you're using short time resin, just use it a little bit and mix it a couple times, because like you can see here I put quite a lot into the pot and it set before I used it all, so it went to waste. And to avoid a mess, just use something to cover your workspace, like I use paper in here on the device. And I use the first one, I don't glue it, so I don't make my vise dirty. Stir well before using resin. It's made from 2 substances mixed it together. And I apply it with a brush, but you need to be quite quick because you got only 5 minutes until it sets. If you enjoyed this video so far, please hit the like button. To create this handle with little bit of a twist, what I usually do, I do put about 5 or 6 squares and then slightly reshape them. Because obviously you got only 5 minutes until the resin is set and the part you won't be able to move no more. Then do it all again after a few sets of squares again, and then continue until you finish. This section is finished, the resin set already, so I can't do more. I had to remix it again. It took me 3 sets to finish that part. It's actually, with this case, is the less is better, because you can always mix it more later on and you won't have any waste. And I learned that hard way. It's time to put the last square and then put the screw on. And leave it to set for about an hour or 2. It's beautiful weather outside, so we're gonna continue doing it outside. I'm only kidding, it's only because there's loads of mess when we're grinding the leather with the resin, so I'd rather do it outside. it's easier to clean for me. I start with the rotary sander, but it's not the greatest tool. The best tool for that is Dremel tool with the sandpaper bit on it. It takes a little while, but if you do it circular, it's way easier. You can use that rotary sander or belt sander to sand it. And with laser cutter it's easier because you can see the charcoal on the edges, and when you remove all of it, it's time to use some fine sandpaper. I'm going for like a rustic look because that's gonna be a handle for old wooden door, which I'm gonna use for living room. Now it's time to get rid of the rest of the rod, which I won't use. So what I usually do, when you cut the threaded rod, it's better to put a nut on it before the cut, because when you cut, sometimes you might ruin a little bit of a thread and you will have trouble with putting a new nut on it. So if you put the nut before the cut, when you take it out, it will create the thread at the end, so you won't have any troubles with putting new nut on. I use angle grinder to cut it, but obviously you can use some steel saw or hand saw, whatever you've got to cut it. But that trick with nut will work on every technique you're gonna use for cutting that rod. And back into workshop. It's time to cover those angles with the leather. This video is not sponsored by anyone, but if you want to be my sponsor and help me grow my business, you can always buy me a coffee. I set up a link into the description of the video. I will probably soon set up also subscription, so you can get some premium patterns and a couple different features from me, and in exchange you can support my channel. It's pretty easy to cover those in leather. Basically we need two pieces of strap, which one is shorter and one is longer. Then punch the holes for the handle bit and couple holes for the mounting. Then cover the leather with the glue and the metal bit, stick it all together and use bone creaser on the edges and stitch it together. Without any reason my camera went slightly out of focus, so it's a bit blurry, but you can still see what I'm doing here. I want to talk a little bit about next project I will have for you. We're gonna do some leather tooling, but not in traditional way. We're gonna utilize tools like laser and tattoo machine. If you would be interested in that kind of content, you can always subscribe to our channel. Right, we got it ready for stitching now, punching the holes, and we're gonna quickly stitch it all together. The only tricky part of punching that out is the bit where you've got the bend. I only put one hole in a bend and then continue it with the big prongs. and obviously stitch it with the wax thread, and I use saddle stitch technique for that. If you like leather work, please pop out to our website where you got loads of different interesting projects to do. Some of them are free, there is a couple of them which are paid. It's always something to enjoy. I only go through one additional hole, then cut the thread and burn it with the lighter. Then use the bone creaser to make that groove look better and pop out. And we can start doing the edges. First I use number 2 edge beveler, then sandpaper block, and obviously Tokonol. If you have any questions about this video, drop us a comment below. And do the exact same for the other corner. So we got corners ready. It's time to finish the main piece, the handle itself. What I do after I bring it back, I use neat's foot oil to feed it, and then I'm gonna use Tokonol as well. What neat's foot oil does, it's make it darker and a bit more rustic. It's all the imperfection will pop out, and if you want something perfect, don't use neat's foot oil on it, use only Tokonol. The leather stacking works best if you use natural leather, I mean veg-tan leather. You can dye it before in different colors, or you can use the leather which was dyed in tannery for different effects. And it's time to put Tokonol to give it a final glare. Be generous with it. Or you can also use the resin as well. I see some people using resin on top. It gives a bit more waterproofing, but I use it indoors, so it doesn't matter for me. So I finished the handle and I'm happy with the effect. Now it's time to finish the nuts. First of all, I use steel wool to polish them out and remove all the unnecessary stuff from it. Then we're gonna use some alcohol to wipe it clean. And then there is a chemical which you apply for about a minute to get that dark, old, rustic look. I'm gonna put the links in description for all of the materials I used and the chemicals as well. There is also a way to do it with the vinegar, but I think with the vinegar you get loads of green patina on it, not the dark brass effect. Be careful with this stuff because it's poisonous, and rinse it with water when you finish. Check the nut before and after. It looks awesome. And it's time to put it all together. To mount it to a door, I use screws with like special nut for the mirror mounting system. in dark brass as well. I won't be able to show you at the door because the door is not finished yet. I will post that when I'm finished. Thanks for watching and see you next time.